Go get your grandmother. The words fall from somewhere near my mother's back, turn to me, bent over one of the infinite household tasks with which she erases herself. Mom's face appears from under her shoulders, rising up, her eyebrows joining over her liquid black-brown eyes, her mouth a thin slash of red at the Benny. I wheel through the house, eager to comply. This promises to be a story I can tell later to amuse others, the time I had to fetch my grandmother from the local. I open the door of our tiny, immaculate, detached brick house and take a breath of electric air, the smell rising from the streetcar tracks on this busy trucking route. The Ben Lamond, as it is known to its patrons, East End lower working class losers, their clothes worn from too many washings, if at all, sits on the northeast corner of Main and Kingston Road, a block and a half from our house. My grandmother is easy to find. She sits by herself, her back to the door in the middle of the room at one of the formica-topped, metal-legged tables, her large brown felt hat with the big feather still on her head. I walk around the table and, pulling the chair back, sling my long legs across it. I am beside her. Well, I guess you're here to bring me home, she says. Yeah. Your mother sent me, she states as she flicks the tip of ash off her cigarette, her eyes focused on this as though it were an event, a first-time thing. The ash lands precisely in the small glass square intended for it. Yep. Can I finish my cigarette? Graham's indignation, her sense of herself is hard done by, makes me smile. Only if I can have one. She glances quickly up at me, her hazel brown eyes roomy with alcohol, her nostrils opening slightly at the challenge. I relish the corner she is in. She cannot refuse because I will walk out. She will have to leave with me, her dignity and self-respect abandoned at a tawdry table in a rundown bar in mid-afternoon. Leaving this way would remind her she is an alcoholic, saved only by living with her daughter's family, rescued by others from her need to resolve herself in sodden gutters. My jaw clenches slightly, teeth coming tightly together to prevent the sneer I feel edging along my lips, which still pucker slightly. With her mouth turned down, her head nods imperceptibly toward the blue and white package of Rothmans. I take the pack in one hand and shake it against my other hand lightly until a thin stick emits from the open top. I light it and drag. Hard. My eyes fall around the room, my ears open to the music, some lame gush of sound, some slush about love and love and love. All music is about love, but this vapid apology slides around like jello. The music I prefer in these places hits my body below the waist, bass drums driving rock and roll, and will not let go even when I respond by sweaty dancing all night long. It is this, the music, that beckons me like a lover back again and again to bars, this and the buzz of booze along my veins. Or so I tell myself. Is she angry? Graham asks. She already knows the answer. I look at her, wondering for the umpteenth time why my father insisted she come and live with us, why he, over my mother's objections, brought her into our tiny, crowded house. Well, might as well go. I hear the slur. Can you walk? She grabs her arm away from mine, places her hands on and leans across the table as she stands up, tries to pull herself upright, weaves and almost falls, but I am under her side before she topples. I'm careful to grab her waist under the long pleated summer coat. We waltz this way, knotted together by the limbs, her weight shifting into, then away from my strong, lean frame. It is not physically difficult. I really... Her chin wags this toward me as her tongue skids and slides with its alcohol-laden cells. Her comment jiggles loose a story my father told me. He offered to bring her home from a party, my mother having already left with burning red cheeks. He walked her along to the front of our house. When she defiantly argued no, she would not go inside, he took his arm away and left her sprawled in all directions across the large snow pile on our front lawn. To hell with you, he announced, waving his hands in the air as he strode into his home. She begins again now, the booze shifting itself inside toward her brain, the place she drinks to rearrange. Enough booze and her mind provides a signal to let go, to feel good. I wonder for a split second how I know this, then quickly another memory surfaces as though ready to shuffle the painful insight to the bottom of the pack, away from where it might confront me. I remember my father's comments about how when she was younger she was known as the biggest whore in the East End of Toronto, a real party girl, a flapper. I steer her towards the front door. "It's all right," she weaves with the bravado of all drunks, pushing my arms away. "Can do myself." She pulls her coat toward her, begins to careen crazily to one side when my mother, her small frame suddenly filling the doorway, appears.